Hi, this is Bob Costas, and you're listening to the ML Sports Platter.
It is indeed the ML Sports Platter all over the major platforms like Spotify, Google, Apple, Stitcher, Deezer, and more. Download, subscribe, leave feedback, and a 5-star review. You can hit me on Twitter at Mike L Sports as well. And we're brought to you by Welch & Company Jewelers, the Al and Angus Pub, the Vince Aguirre Consulting Group, and a brand new sponsor of the ML Sports Platter. That, of course, would be Syracuse Fitness Store. Just got my unbelievable Spirit bike in-house. Can't wait to pedal throughout the bad months with the bad weather. Stuck inside, got your own little home bike, home gym type of a thing. Make sure you go ahead and visit them. Erie Boulevard in central New York if you're in and around the area, or even passing through from somewhere else. Grab something and grab that bike and bring it home. So it's really great. Focus on what's important with Syracuse Fitness Store. They have home fitness, commercial fitness, and a heck of a lot more. Visit them online at SyracuseFitnessStore.com. SyracuseFitness.com. Treadmills, ellipticals, financing, you name it. SyracuseFitness.com, a proud ML Sports Platter sponsor. Super pumped up to bring him back to the podcast. We had him on a couple of weeks ago to chit-chat about the second half of the San Francisco Giants and certainly the baseball scene in general. Second half post-All-Star break. We recapped the All-Star break, talked some Shohei Ohtani, talked some home run derby, etc. We're bringing it back on now because the Bay Area sports insider Joe Castellano is also heavy duty into the San Francisco 49ers. Wild expectations this year. What's up with the quarterback position? Is Trey Lance going to get it? All that and more. Really, really tough, just brutal division. Let's dive in deep right now. San Francisco 49er talk with the Bay Area insider Joe Castellano on Twitter at the Sports Virus. Joe, welcome back, pal.
Hey, Mike. No problem. Looking forward to it.
The 49ers are a team that I think, everybody's looking at, but they're, as a contender. They have a Super Bowl roster, and they got a lot of guys coming back, injury, corona, the whole deal. But the question is on the quarterback. Who do you go with? Do you give the keys to the kingdom to the youngster? They kind of fall into a category with like the Browns and a couple others where that roster, man, wow. But what's going on with who's throwing the football? Is that basically it?
Yeah, yesterday that was addressed actually in a 49ers press conference, and Kyle Shanahan was talking about how Jimmy G is the starter. And, that's the smart move. You drafted a first-round draft pick in Trey Lance, and by the way, they just signed him this morning, so that's good news, a 4-year, $34.1 million fully guaranteed contract. That's according to Adam Schefter from ESPN. So, yeah, you've got him waiting in the wings, but Jimmy G is your starter. And from everything I've heard, he was really upset, of course, when they decided to make that trade and make the draft pick for a quarterback. So, pissed off Jimmy G apparently is a good thing when you're reading some of the quotes out there, especially George Kittle saying that Jimmy G looks great right now and he's more motivated than ever. So if he stays healthy and you get a great year out of him and you have Trey Lance waiting in the wings, that's a great scenario to have. Although that's not the way, Mike, that I would have gone. I would have gone with a veteran backup because if Jimmy G gets hurt, I'd rather have the veteran backup now and then in the future go draft a quarterback. But I really like Jimmy G and I hope he stays healthy.
So Kyle Shanahan is obviously he's a super smart dude. He's an offensive wizard and all the rest. And there was a time there, a couple-year period, where everybody's trying to find the next Sean McVay. Oh, the next Sean McVay. And then they go to the Super Bowl, and it's a defensive Super Bowl, and he loses to a guy named Bill Belichick. And it's, oh, hey, maybe we should all try to find the next Bill Belichick. Well, Kyle Shanahan is now the head coach of the 49ers. He was the OC for that Falcon team that blew a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl, even though I blame Dan Quinn more than I blame Kyle Shanahan because he could have just overridden anything and said, hey, hand the ball off, right, when Julio makes that great catch. Where are we at with Kyle Shanahan as a head coach? He's had some playoff struggles. He's the noted OC with that blown lead. Where are we with this guy, Joe?
I think he's a great coach, but he's a great offensive mind. Defensively, he doesn't really get involved very much, and so losing Robert Saleh to the Jets could be a big loss to have somebody who was running your defense. There wasn't a whole lot of involvement from the head coach. So we'll see how that pans out. But the most important thing is getting these healthy players back, because it doesn't matter if Kyle Shanahan is an offensive genius. If he doesn't have the pieces in place, they're not going to go anywhere. And they're getting all of these players back. I'm pretty excited about it because, if you think about Jimmy G healthy and having receivers like Kittle, Ayuk, who's very exciting, if he's healthy, and Deebo Samuel, who breaks tackles all over the place, and then, Mostert as a running back, I love this offense, and Shanahan really is a wizard at calling the plays. Just have to have the pieces in place.
On defense, how good can they be?
Well, I think it was important to sign Warner long term, because he really is one of the best linebackers in the NFL. Again, this is about health. I mean, if Bosa comes back completely healthy, how is D Ford? They're not really counting on much from D Ford, but if they can get him back, that's going to really help. They've had some injuries. I mean, I thought that was kind of a big blow to lose Tavarius Moore, who ended up with an Achilles injury. So, he's going to be out. And they're going to miss some of the veteran presence. Richard Sherman, who had those personal issues, unfortunately, just recently, but he's not with them anymore. So to lose a veteran presence like that, they've had so many injuries on the defensive side. A guy like Jaquaski Tart was always important, but he was hurt a lot. So you've got to have health. Again, we keep talking about health. But I do think the defense is going to get after it, have a much better pass rush if Bosa is healthy enough.
Joe Castellano here on the ML Sports Platter, brought to you by Liverpool Physical Therapy and our good friends over at Barks and Rec Doggy Daycare, the Sports Virus Bay Area Sports Insider, at the Sports Virus on Twitter, and thesportsvirus.com. Very good, great, not so good, somewhere in the middle, average. What is the draft grade that they had? Do you like what they did in the draft?
Yeah, I mean, I think they did a pretty good job. I mean, the main thing was just to trade to get the quarterback Trey Lance, and that remains to be seen. But otherwise, they mostly are playing veteran guys that are really established. They ended up making a big signing in longer term with Trent Williams. Spent a lot of money there. They spent a lot of money, as I mentioned, on the one of the best linebackers, I think, in Fred Warner. Draft wise, I thought you go back and look at last year, and Javon Kinlaw, he's got to improve. So I usually look at the second year after the draft to kind of see where they are, and have those guys improved a little bit. A guy like Ayuk, I'm expecting big things from, and he was drafted last year. So I'm looking more at that than the guys that they just drafted, because those guys are going to take some time to develop. Where's the biggest hole on this team? It might really be the secondary if they're not healthy. Like I said, Tart is really good when healthy. Jimmy Ward, I mean, he is a hard hitter in the secondary, but he gets hurt a lot too. So, I mean, you've had these injuries all over the place, but I don't really see a lot of weaknesses, to be honest with you. The offensive line should be better. One guy, I'll tell you this, there's one area of concern, is that Mike McClinchy admittedly didn't play as well as the right tackle last year as he did the year before. For whatever reason, a shorter practice time to get into the season with COVID and everything, they really need him to be up to snuff, because, he was a high draft pick out of Notre Dame, that, you're protecting, that right side as a right tackle, and you've got to do a really good job. So, they went out and they made sure they signed Trent Williams long term. They're protecting the blind side, but they really need McClinchy to step up, I think, as the right tackle. Give me the team in the NFC West. Again, what a gauntlet this year, Joe. I mean, you got to play 6 games against, Russell Wilson, Seahawks, the Rams, new and improved Matt Stafford, and McVay and company. Got to deal with Kyler Murray twice a year. Give me the team that's the biggest problem for the 49ers in that division in 2021. Wow, yeah. I mean, it always seems to be Seattle, right? I mean, yeah, like you said, with Russell Wilson and everything, they always have their hands full with the Seahawks, but I'm going to go with Arizona just because Kyler Murray is scary, man. It's just so hard to contain him. He's all over, running. He's got a great arm. He has that flair for the dramatic. Remember that pass he threw in the Hail Mary that ended up being a touchdown? Yeah, I remember. It was against my Buffalo Bills, but by the way, I was good with it because after that, the Bills went on their run. So thank you, Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, because that actually, the Bills went up, made the AFC title game, and you guys sucked the rest of the way. So. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, it's not just Kyler Murray. It's DeAndre Hopkins, who pretty much is one of the top 2 or 3 receivers in the NFL. So, I think it's going to be up for grabs, the division. It wouldn't surprise me, no matter what happens as far as who wins that division. I don't think any team that wins it will surprise me. And we'll see how Stafford fits in L.A. I'm not sure. But, again, the team that's always on your calendar to look at is the Seahawks. That's been a really good rivalry in recent years.
No doubt. A couple more for Joe Castellano from the Sports Virus, talking some 49ers training camp and storylines. The NFL season is just speeding right up here. Just over, about a month and change away from football. The AFC we know is loaded. I mean, the Super Bowl contenders in the AFC, you could probably say that there's maybe as many as 6 or 7. I think in the NFC, I don't think anybody in the East. I think the Packers in the North, now that we know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. I think the NFC South, maybe you look at the Bucks. I don't even really put the Saints in there now because I got to wait and see on Winston, Taysom Hill. Falcons are, I don't know, maybe one more good year for Matt Ryan with those weapons. They bring in Kyle Pitts, but I don't trust him on defense. And then I look at, so I got Green Bay, I got Tampa, and then I look at the NFC West, and I got Niners, Seahawks, Rams, really. I mean, I have those 5 teams in the NFC. Do you look at it that way, that the 49ers are in that group, in that mix, or is there somebody missing that they'll have to worry about here? Because I think it's those 5 right up at the top, Joe.
Yeah, no, I think the 49ers absolutely are in that mix for sure. And we'll see about Green Bay. I mean, that's really going to be an interesting dynamic to watch because how much motivation does Rodgers have to take the Packers back to the Super Bowl? I would think he's a pro, and everything that's happened in the offseason, he's just going to put that aside to show everybody that he's still capable of doing great things. So, they're going to be right up there. I can't count out Brady, even though every year, in recent years, you're saying, okay, how much longer can this go on? But, they won the Super Bowl last year. Pretty surprising, I thought. It's definitely going to be a difficult conference to wade your way through with those top teams that you mentioned. Maybe you sort of get well on playing the bottom feeders of the conference. So you should see some really good records for those teams like you mentioned in the West. So I do think the 49ers have a really good chance. I think last year was an aberration. They had a lot of the talent there, but they were all hurt. I mean, they got hurt early in the year, and the rest of the season was just a bunch of backups. So I think this year, as long as they stay healthy, if these guys, most of them stay healthy, they're going to be right there.
Breakout player on offense, breakout player on defense.
Let's see. As far as breakout that we haven't seen him do it before, somebody, haven't seen him do it before. Wow. Well, it might be Trey Lance because if Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt, then Trey Lance steps in. And remember, there has not been a rookie quarterback that has ever started the Super Bowl. So that would be interesting to see if he actually got to do that. So I'm hoping that's not the case. I really want Jimmy G to be healthy, but I would say that would be a prediction of a breakout player. And then defensively, it might be Kinlaw because last year he was as a rookie, he's learning, and I mean he's got a lot of talent. He's a defensive lineman that kind of doesn't have the pressure on him as much as maybe you would think because he's surrounded by Nick Ford and Armstead and Nick Bosa and D Ford. So with all those guys, maybe Javon Kinlaw steps up and has a big year, whether it be with some sacks and a lot of tackles and be a leader on the defensive line.
Final thing for you, I wanted to kind of dive into the 49ers as a franchise, as a brand. They've got the history, Montana and Rice and Steve Young and company. They got all the Super Bowls. How important do you think the Niners are to the NFL? The NFL obviously is king no matter what, but they have their trademark teams and their trademark brands, as you know. I mean, Giants, Cowboys, Patriots, etc. Where are the 49ers on that list, and how important do you think, Joe, being right there close to them, how important are they to the NFL in terms of, hey, we want these guys to succeed?
Yeah, I would think they're in the top 10 because I still think it's Cowboys, like you mentioned, Giants, it's Steelers, those teams that really travel well because in covering the NFL for a long time as I have, I mean, that's what you see. You see those teams that really travel well. So those are the top ones that I think of, but I still look at the 49ers as being in the top 10 because of the history that they've had. As you mentioned, Montana, Young, Rice, all of that, and then recently getting to the Super Bowl. So they're up there. I mean, it's been a great franchise, and I think the changeover, getting to John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan was huge because they were buried there for a while. I mean, they're using all different coaches, one after another, after Harbaugh left, and it just looked like they were going to be a bottom feeder for a while. But that change was a big deal, and now I think the NFL would consider the 49ers to be, like I said, top 10, maybe in your top 7 teams in the NFL.
Joe, by the way, last time I had you on, you had said, hey, they're going to hang in the second half, and the Giants, man, you'd want to talk about they get walked off by Will Smith in that second game, come right back and win a game, and they're here to stay. They're going to be a pain in the neck for the Dodgers and Padres, man.
Well, the next few days are really, really important, not only because the Giants are playing the Dodgers 2 more times after they won the game on Tuesday where Bellinger just airmailed a throw and handed the Giants the victory. Yeah. But the next few days will be so important because of the trade deadline. What do the Dodgers do? What do the Giants do? So many rumors out there about the Giants maybe getting Chris Bryant and Max Scherzer. I mean, I would love to see that, but, the Dodgers are going to be in on everything as well. Yeah. So the next few days are going to be so important for the NL West.
No doubt, and the Dodgers will definitely be in on Scherzer because they want to just simply replace Trevor Bauer, and there's no going back now. I mean, they've spent, well over $1 billion the last few years on payroll. They finally win a World Series. They want to stay up at the top. How do you do that? Starting pitching. Joe Castellano, of course, the sportsvirus.com, at the Sports Virus on Twitter, 49ers insider and Bay Area sports analyst. Joe, you're the best. Thank you, buddy.
Hey, thanks a lot, Mike. Really appreciate it, and hope you have a great week.
And the ML Sports Platter is brought to you by our terrific friends at Welch & Company Jewelers. Log on to welchjewelers.com. That's welchjewelers.com. Shop the showcase, engagement rings, wedding rings, you name it, they've got it. Bracelets, necklaces, etc. Welch & Company Jewelers is a proud ML Sports Platter sponsor. Also, a big tip of the cap to our friends at Rosie's Corner, Ken's Auto Detailing, Parks and Rec Doggy Daycare, and last but not least, a brand new sponsor of the ML Sports Platter. Super pumped up to have him on board. Jeff Parsick is a guy I know. His wife taught with my dad in elementary school, and he has done an unbelievable job launching the Brewerton Ace Hardware. If you are in and around Central New York, you got to stop off to the Bartell Road exit in Brewerton. Pop in Route 11. It's actually right by Rosie, so you can grab lunch and you can go into Ace Hardware. And I'm telling you, these guys have got it going on. They have unbelievable supplies. Check out their Facebook page. Go to acehardware.com. See what's going on. And they offer military discounts, all sorts of great stuff. They've got amazing product there at the Brewerton Ace Hardware. And by the way, you can stop in and check out the full array of Jeffrey's products as well, supporting local business with pickles, veggies, barbecue sauce, and rubs as well. Brewerton Ace Hardware, doing it right. Go get them on Facebook. Check them out at acehardware.com. What you need for your house, inside, outside, etc., and some goodies in the kitchen as well, it's all at Brewerton Ace Hardware, a proud ML Sports Platter sponsor. Hit me on Twitter at Mike L. Sports, and of course you can find ML Sports Platter all over Instagram and on Facebook. And be on the lookout for my 1 Minute with Mike Lindsley, ML Sports Takes, and 9 Minute with Mike Lindsley videos from Rosie's every Friday as well. Joe Castellano, one of the best in the business, and by the way, that NFC West is fantastic. It's going to be something else again this year. You've got quarterbacks, you've got monster head coaches, you've got pressure cookers, you've got the Garoppolo and Lance storyline, you have the Cardinals spending money in the offseason, Matt Stafford is in L.A., that's a story. I mean, I mentioned the quarterbacks, Stafford, Murray, Garoppolo / Lance, and Wilson, the quarterbacks, but, the Stafford, him coming is a story in and of itself, and then you have all the quarterbacks, you have all the teams, you have Super Bowl aspirations, I would say for, maybe all 4. I think the Cardinals would tell you that, we're right there, but they got to prove it to me. Kingsbury, he's still a little shaky as head coach, but that's going to be a terrific division. Thanks for listening to the ML Sports Platter all over the major platforms, Spotify, Google, Apple, Stitcher, Deezer, and many others. Go ahead and leave a 5-star review and feedback while you're at it. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.